Anyway, that is everybody introduced, and it's a really good number of people dialed in too, so we will get going. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. So first of all, this session is being recorded, so if you have to drop off, don't worry. We'll be sending the video around afterwards, so you can share it with any colleagues that you think will find it interesting as well. Secondly, if the slide will change, questions. We love and we want questions. And as you can see, we'll be using Slido here to collect those questions. You can scan the QR code here or head to slido.com and use the code shown as well. You can submit questions at any point during this webinar, and the codes will be shown on every speaker slide. So no need to wait till the end. Join, submit your questions at any point. If your question is for a particular speaker, then we recommend that you drop their name or platform in so that we can ask the right person as well. So now we've kept you waiting long enough. Let's get stuck into the top e-commerce trends for 2024. I'm going to start with LoyaltyLion's trend, which is all about rewards getting more rewarding. So why do we think that this is a trend for 2024? Well, you may not realize that actually the average US consumer is a member of 16.7 loyalty programs. And 66% of those members say that their spending behavior is really influenced by the rewards that they can earn. So more and more, we're seeing our customers realize that having a loyalty program isn't enough. That loyalty program needs to stand out, and it needs to include the rewards that support brand growth and resonate with both existing members and new customers that you're trying to recruit into your program as well. So I'm going to touch on the 3 biggest places that we predict rewards will become more rewarding. So first of all, we think we'll see brands offering more and more ways for customers to earn points and unlock rewards in between purchases. So this can be delivered in so many different ways. You know, you get your standard points for creating an account, points for social follows, points for sharing your birthday maybe, but we foresee a bit more creativity coming in here. So people will be rewarding points for maybe actually tagging a brand on social so that you expand your reach. Maybe points for sharing data via a quiz or a profile completion so that you're always gathering more zero-party data. Perhaps points for video and photo reviews rather than just the written ones, and then you get to expand your UGC as well. So we see a lot more creative and compelling ways to unlock rewards in the 2024 crystal ball. But what about the actual rewards themselves? Well, the first thing that we anticipate seeing a lot more of this year is free product rewards. And this is where brands allow loyalty program members to redeem their rewards for products rather than, say, money off vouchers. So as you can see from this example, with Mac, loyalty program members can decide how many of their points they actually want to use within their purchase and which products they want to get for free. Then it's just a case of adding that product to the basket, and the customer gets far more than they anticipated from their order. So this is a win for both you and your consumer. You know, the loyalty program member gets a pleasant surprise and they get more value from their order. But as a brand, you get to increase the visibility of your products and introduce members to items that actually they might not have thought about buying before. It's also quite a powerful way of shifting excess inventory if you have it too. And then moving on to the final area where we think rewards will get more rewarding in 2024. This is all around charitable rewards. So more and more, we're seeing brands like Ren Skincare, as you can see here, they're tying their rewards to causes that they and their customers care about. So for example, if I just earn 100 points, I can claim a £10 voucher and I can use it on my next purchase. Or I could recover 1 kilo of ocean plastic and I could plant 5 trees, or any combination of the above. So as brands, you know that consumers are trying to shop more sustainably, more in line with their values. They care more about how you operate. So it's really great to see lots of our users designing their loyalty programs in a way that shows customers that they have lots in common with you as a brand and that you care about the same things. Promotes a really emotional connection above the transactional, and that helps to increase trust, and that boosts your returning customer rates. Also, it's a really good way of differentiating yourself from all the other brands out there who are selling similar products. So that is how we see rewards becoming more rewarding in 2024. It's a bit of a tongue twister there. Don't forget, you can still access Slido and submit questions at any point in this webinar, and we'll get to as many as possible at the end. But next, I'm going to hand over to Jen at Attentive. Jen, over to you.
Great, thanks, Fiona. Hi, everyone. So we can jump into the next slide and kick off into the trend. Right, thank you. Okay, so 2023, it was very much the year of introducing AI concepts to marketers and consumers. I think we would all agree it was a bit of a buzzword. But 2024 is set to be the year of AI, where use cases are going to expand, adoption is going to be more widespread, and there's going to be a lot more practical applications of the technology. Now, I will say I'm careful about using that phrase. I'm old enough to have lived through at least 4 year of mobile situations. So I do realize what I'm saying, but I think at the very least, we are going to see that 2024 will bring some very notable advancements to AI in retail. Someone also asked me towards the end of last year if I thought that AI was like the new NFT. I feel confident in saying that it is not. So feel reassured on that front. I think it would be a mistake if marketers are thinking of AI as this very fleeting trend. There's a lot more substance and use cases to this, and it's really rapidly transforming marketing workflows. And the exciting part is we're actually only getting started in terms of realizing the potential of AI when it comes to more personalized marketing. So I think taking this trend seriously and realizing there's a lot more to come is definitely a good call. But in terms of the trends, so as an e-commerce marketer, you're going to need to embrace the power of AI to stay ahead in the ever evolving marketing landscape this year. And so at Attentive, here's 3 trends that we've identified or that we're predicting are going to be powered ahead by AI this year. So first up is deeper personalization for customers and consumers is going to become a reality. So imagine delivering these tailored messages to each customer one-to-one based on their individual behavior or based on their preferences. So we know this level of personalization has been a dream for marketers for some time, but AI is actually making it possible. And you won't need to rely on a team of data scientists to kind of make sense of your customer data and really make this happen for you. Instead, AI solutions are going to be able to help make sense of a vast amount of behavioral and interest-based data, both in terms of actually processing that data in the first place, but then actually being able to deliver actionable recommendations or even ready-to-use output. So this means that old cliche of delivering the right experience to the right consumer at the right time might actually truly start to become a reality. This level of AI-powered personalization, you could do it in-house. So if you've got the right talent in place or you're in a position to hire that talent, but it will also increasingly be offered by MarTech providers. So many in the space are investing in this type of technology. They also have the volume of data to be able to build these deep customer profiles and then the tools to act on the insight. So I think you're going to see a lot more emerging on the partner side as well. The second trend is really this broader adoption of using AI for predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is nothing new. It's been around for some time, but right now, very good predictive analytics can be somewhat limited to brands with the technical resources or talent to make it happen. And both of those can be a significant investment, i.e. expensive. And so AI is really opening up this possibility of more accessible predictive analytics, regardless of your company's size or team size. And again, on the partner side, more partners actually being empowered to offer those capabilities as well. So with AI doing the analysis, what we kind of see happening is that more brands will have access to insights on key trends or identifying your high value customers, or maybe determining when a shopper is most likely to make a purchase. So one example you could think through for this one is where AI could add value in this predictive analytics spaces. You want to maximize a shopper's potential to purchase, but you also want to do it at an efficient level for your brand. So AI could determine the right incentives to most likely convert a shopper, but that also maximizes your ROI. So think about, new subscribers or new shoppers to your brand. They might respond really well to $10 or £10 or wherever you are off your first purchase. And that one kind of might be easy enough to figure out. But driving follow-up purchases can be a lot more complex. So where AI or predictive AI could play a role is use past data to determine the best incentives for different subsegments. Maybe specific times or days of the week work best, or maybe $5 off is the most effective, or actually at a certain time, free shipping is the best incentive for some group. So all of this will still help you convert shoppers, but take into consideration your ROI too, and try and make the most of that. The final trend that we're seeing in AI for 2024 is marketers embracing testing and more testing. So 2024, we think, could really be the year that retailers lead into the testing opportunities that generative AI offers, but also the time saving that comes with that. So for example, if today you're generally doing like A/B testing, and that's taking up enough chunk of your time, with AI support, you could actually do A, B, C, D, and beyond testing. You can actually see a visual of Attentive's AI-powered copy assist on the slide. And part of what we're doing there is really offering that capability to have multiple different messages that you can easily and quickly set up and then go and test. But it's also about testing, AI written copy against combined AI and human, or maybe just pure human written copy, and like seeing how those different pieces of copy perform. Of course, you also want to test the quality of the AI output, just seeing if there's any tweaks that need to be made as well. In general, though, we do still recommend, to get the most out of generative AI, continue to add a human touch, review any AI copy and output, make tweaks, and just like ensure that your brand voice and the feel is fully on point. So to wrap up, making 2024 the year of AI is going to mean starting to invest in tools, but also in partnerships that enable your team to harness the potential of AI and really start getting those like valuable insights out of it. Along with the possibility of time saving, there's this like great promise of like finally realizing truly one-to-one marketing. So with AI, you can be looking at delivering more tailored experiences to your customers, improving your campaigns, and getting better results. So we do encourage you to embrace AI in marketing this year and give yourself an advantage as this technology takes off.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jen. I'm sure there's not a marketer on this call that hasn't dabbled, but I think we've all got a lot to learn. I love that make casual, make funny options on your AI tool. I might have to borrow the make funny one just in my everyday life. But thank you so much. That's really, really interesting. Next up, Erin, over to you.
Hello, everyone, again. So very similar to Attentive here at Triple Whale, we also believe that this will be the year of AI, but we also think that brands will really lean into post-purchase survey data to drive revenue in 2024. So at Triple Whale, we understand the power of direct engagement, and we have the data to prove that there's no better way to tap into your customers' insight than simply asking them what you need to know. So as we begin to look ahead in 2024, we really do start foreseeing brands fully embracing their post-purchase survey data. And the goal here is to not just use the data to boost sales, but also to use the data to nurture your customer loyalty and then also trim down the overall marketing expenses. So the first point I really want to make, using that post-purchase survey to really start doing some more smart spending. So we all can probably agree that understanding your customer origins gives a brand the confidence to allocate their marketing funds wisely. And in a recent study that was conducted by Triple Whale, it really did reinforce this concept. So we actually examined two customer cohorts. So one were stores with post-purchase surveys, which was just about like 2,000 stores. And the other was stores without post-purchase surveys, which was about 4,400 stores. And honestly, the results spoke volumes. So you can see in my little picture here on the side. So we found that stores with that post-purchase survey, they were actually 5% lower in cost per acquisition, 5% lower with new customer cost per acquisition, 10% lower in their marketing efficient ratios, and then 25% higher with their average ad spend. So really the key takeaway from this data was that shops using those post-purchase surveys are nailing it in the financial game. So they have that clear understanding where their customers are coming from, which now allows them to put that marketing money where it truly matters. And the post-purchase survey powered stores aren't burning cash on grabbing new customers left and right. Why? Well, because they have that insight on which ads are working so that they can allocate more of the resources into the ones that actually are bringing them wins. Next slide, please. Okay, so I really wanted to bring in an example of how a really large customer of ours has been really successful by utilizing not just zero-party data, so like your post-purchase data, but also combined with first-party. So Mary Ruth is a really perfect example of someone who has harnessed that power of the zero-party data in combined with the first-party data to not only gain that comprehensive understanding of their entire impact from both their campaigns as well as channels. So just to give you an idea, Mary Ruth is spending a cool $300,000 daily on marketing across multiple platforms. Now, before they started utilizing a tool like Triple Whale's Total Impact that utilizes the combined power of zero-party data with also first-party data, they were utilizing more about standard attribution models, so click-related events, which often was misweighing the impact of their platforms. So with their standard attribution model, Mary Ruth TikTok ROAS would range from something very underwhelming of like a 0.5 to 1 ROAS. But once they actually started using Triple Whale's Total Impact tool, which was enriched with that post-purchase survey data, Mary Ruth discovered that their return on ad spend for TikTok was 900% higher than previously reported. So just a really good example that you can't just really depend on that in-platform data, that it is important to be utilizing other tools like post-purchase survey, so that zero-party data to get the full picture of not only just the impact of your campaigns, but also your channels. And then next slide, please. Okay. And before we wrap things up, I definitely did not want to skip over how critical post-purchase surveys are, not just for understanding where your customers are coming from, but also for where you should be allocating your budget to add to your tech stack. Because I believe all of us have this trouble that, we feel that we need to be buying all these tools, but we don't know exactly the performance of them or how we should be utilizing them or how they work together. So post-purchase surveys can really help you understand where that budget should be allocated for those tools. So Triple Whale also did a recent deep dive into our data from over 11,000 Shopify stores during the recent Black Friday, Cyber Monday madness. And what did we find? Well, our post-purchase data showed us that an impressive 12% of customers from these 11,000 Shopify stores discovered a merchant's brand and made their first buy, all thanks to a friend referral, especially with the younger consumers. So what do we take away from this? You want to make sure that your loyalty programs are locked in for 2024. So think of tools like LoyaltyLion. And then you want to start unleashing that magic of friend recommendations. And there you have it. So that is Triple Whale's big trend that everyone should consider implementing in 2024. If you do have any questions, I will provide my email in the chat, as well as if you are eager to give Triple Whale a spin. We do have a special discount that we'll be providing to anyone who actually has joined us today. And I also just want to highlight that we do have our free dashboard, Founders Dash, that is designed to get you guys kickstarted, your data-driven journey. And with this free dashboard, we also do provide our own post-purchase survey. Thanks, everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you, Erin. Those numbers are mind-blowing. It's amazing. And I think, post-purchase surveys, there is nothing better than asking your own customers what they want and what they're doing and learning from that 100%. Fantastic. Thank you. So, Steph, over to you. Your turn to take the stage.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I have learned so much already. So thank you for letting me follow up at the perfect time. SJ here from Just Uno, and I'm going to be talking about more of that on-site experience and some trends we're seeing there. So we can go to my next slide. So if you haven't used pop-ups or that post-purchase survey that Erin was mentioning, there could be questions, which I saw one about engagement and what that may do to your engagement rates, if it even is going to get engaged with, and what it does to your other channels if it's an interruption. But this is where we are seeing that trend of visitors being willing to engage, and kind of like Jen was saying, that cliche of right place, right time, post-purchase, the perfect time to ask something like that. And aside from getting that attribution aspect, you can also just in general enable that feedback loop. So if you have someone that's a first-time purchaser or a return customer, those are two different types of feedback loops that you can have someone going through. That's maybe more product-driven, how their actual website performance was and that experience was, like actually clicking through your navigation, for example. And then the ultimate, like, where did someone hear about you? So we're seeing that trend not only in the post-purchase, but also throughout the whole website scenario that is delivering that zero and first party data so that you can use that to segment and target visitors. So what's great about this trend of gathering more data and trying to use it is that, like Jen was saying, there are more tools so that you can implement these changes and A/B test with AI or just with your team being more strategic because you have all of this data. So I'll get into some examples here, and then I have some metrics for us to look at too to compare. So first off, we've got triggering a workflow messaging on specific actions like pages visited, geolocation, or average order value. So this is a lot of real-time data. It's hardcore purchase data that you've got in Justuno, where you're able to set that condition that maybe someone has only ever purchased $300 with you versus the average big purchase at this time is maybe $900. So that's where you're showing that more strategic offer or that more strategic messaging that's helping a visitor overcome their objections on their own. So what's important about the on-site experience now and what's trending with the zero first party data is that it is more expected to, hey, give me a really personalized experience because I'm already giving you all this. And visitors know there is some amount of tracking going on. So aside from kind of the basics of if you're getting someone from your paid channel onto your website, you want to mirror that experience that even brought them to site. So maybe if it's an influencer video, influencer bundles, you're mimicking that whole message when they arrive on site based off of what you already know about them, AKA where they've purchased before and what they've purchased. Point two in the zero and first party data trend is building deeper connections with your target segments by showing them relevant messaging and product recommendations. So messaging and recommendations, kind of the most immediate actions you would want someone to take on a website. And this can all be based off of the SKU that they previously purchased or even just browsed. Like, to me, that is a lot of intent. And quiz responses, of course. This doesn't only have to be post-purchase quizzes. This could be a quiz that you add on to your lead capture at the beginning, for example, kind of asking who they're purchasing for, maybe what product categories they would like to enjoy or browse. And then even to when someone is exiting your website, that's totally an appropriate time to show a quiz, but with the idea that we're addressing objections and trying to help them overcome those objections. Next up, I have A/B test segmentation and targeting strategies, which, by what Jen said in your attentive setup, if you're already getting that awesome insight and attentive, that copy can easily translate into your on-site pop-ups, which is like automatically that whole mirroring effect. And I'm not saying it has to be an exact copy and paste. You can tweak it for how you know your personas are typically engaging on site. But a perfect place to, or I should say, zero and first party data allows for a lot more A/B test scenarios to make sense to want to do, which maybe before it'd be like, why would we test that? Well, now we know because we're getting all that data. And then last year, I have that we want to connect all your marketing efforts for seamless cross-channel experience now. And that trend is easier because of all the tools we have. And it's ideal because we are in the kind of era of tracking everything. Ideally, you're adding UTMs to everything so that you can retarget and get that tracking. And that's where on site, you're able to target that UTM, that campaign that you have, or just based off of traffic source or a traffic channel to deliver an experience based off of that persona that you've established from that source, which again can be really based off of any influencer or creator that you're working with on that social platform, for example, to get someone to site. So all of these different ways that you're using zero and first party data that is connecting your channels in a really thoughtful way that hopefully is not adding more work. It's just allowing you to see how you can use other pieces of your marketing mix in like the real-time moment when they're shopping on site. There is, of course, the whole conversation of social commerce and just being able to buy anywhere off of your site, which is great. But I'll kind of take Erin's note here. Like, your website is a source of truth. That is where people know that is your legitimate brand and that they're going to probably go to at one time or another. So that's the ideal place to give the most optimized experience. Can I go to my next slide, please? Next, I have up, so these are just, pop-up benchmarks by plugin. So earlier I was getting at how we are seeing engagement numbers increase with those quizzes, those more involved clicks on site. And we're seeing it by plugin type at Just So we've got timers, spin to win, aka gamification, the tap to text option, and text tickers, as well as product recommendations. So all of these plugin types are items that you can add into your pop-ups or your on-site messaging throughout to actually yield that engagement that we've shown leads to that conversion down the line. I won't say it'll be that same session that they'll convert, but the idea is that you're getting enough touch points in based off of the zero and first party data that's allowing you to get more touch points, to get those clicks and to guide someone to that last point of, okay, now we're in the feedback loop. How can we make this next round of engagement with us better? My favorite plugin out of here that we've seen, I would say more evolved or trending in the new year, is the spin to win and gamifications. I think, Fiona, you were saying more about like being creative and how you're actually giving away those points or just those offers. And that's a great way to do it. It's not only about being creative in like the type of offer, but also how you're presenting that redemption. Like, is it confusing? Is there any friction? Does it get confused maybe with a different part of your business that is meant more for like a new visitor versus a return customer? So with that gamification, it's something where if you have a visitor coming from email and you have that UTM attached, you're able to then greet them with a really awesome spin to win, asking them just to spin, and they're able to redeem their prize, wherever it lands, which can be totally custom. It can be exactly what you want it to be, or it can be that true game where they're choosing what they want. So I love the idea of adding more engagement points, not only because it does yield higher engagement throughout and conversions, but also because it's trackable. Like, all of these clicks, the timer engagement, how that shows, we can see exactly how each of your channels is behaving with that pop-up, and like different tweaks we can make down the line. And that does it for me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, I think I love what you said about your website actually being the place where you have control,
Yeah, full control. You can make it so beautiful, which is like another point when someone has like a lead capture right away. It's like, let them enjoy the site for a sec to give them a reason to like actually engage with your post-purchase later on, to not unsubscribe, just giving them a good vibe from the very beginning.
Yeah, 100%. Fantastic. Thank you so much, SJ. John, over to you.
I appreciate it. There's been so many tactics that I've already kind of noted mentally, so I appreciate everyone's insights here. But I'm happy to dive in. We didn't actually talk about TapCart in my entire little intro, so I'll take 1 minute and do so really quickly. So TapCart is the leading mobile commerce solution for about 3,000 Shopify Plus brands. We take everything that's working with your Shopify store and translate that to a dedicated mobile app as a part of your owned marketing strategy. So I think if you think about the foundations of owned marketing, like email, like SMS that Jen spoke to, the mobile app is really the third prong to that owned marketing strategy, and where a lot of our brands are seeing their most productive cohort live. And that's just because you have the power of push notifications, being that it is a owned marketing channel. So we'll kind of dive in. I think by this point, we've all heard murmurings of some new changes that are coming that will impact your own marketing in a pretty meaningful way, right? Beginning the 1st of the month, email marketing is not going to be the same, right? These are the headlines that we're hearing. Google and Yahoo have banded together arm in arm to make these updates that are great for consumers, but not as great for e-commerce brands, right? This is just the latest changes that will impact how effectively you're able to do your email strategy here. So the two core things that I wanted to mention here is that the spam threshold is much, much higher, right? Should only 3 out of 1,000 emails get marked as spam, you'll fail Google standards and be classified as a quote unquote spam sender, right? That's a pretty scary place to be. I think marketers have gotten so much better about segmenting, about personalization to make sure that we're not, batching emails to everyone, kind of a one size fits all. But there's still, an even higher standard that Google and Yahoo are going to be holding us to, and e-commerce brand owners have to pivot, right? At the current moment, we're seeing that up to almost 80 brands would potentially fail this new test. And the second requirement is that Google is going to ask that you have a one single click unsubscribe. I know we've all gone through these multi-step, 4 or 5 steps, sometimes unsubscribes, where you kind of get lost. You're like, wait a minute, I thought that I was going to be unsubscribing and now I'm answering a questionnaire. Google and Yahoo are making it much easier for consumers to be able to one-click unsubscribe from a message. Currently over 85% of brands have an unsubscribe process that's multi-touch. So this is a really big change, but honestly, an opportunity for brand owners to be thinking about how they can navigate this change and be set up for success for the future there. You can go to the next slide if you don't mind. Perfect. So diversifying your owned marketing with mobile push notifications. So what do I mean by that? About 82% of all e-commerce is happening on a mobile device today, right? I would bet, if I had to guess, all of our phones are no more than like 2 feet away from us at any given time, including right now. Everything we do is on an app, right? I woke up this morning from an alarm clock. I went to the gym and I listened to Spotify on the way through an app. I checked into Equinox through an app. Everything that we do is on an app. And yet we've, for the past several years relied on these mobile web experiences to be driving our e-commerce, customer experience. And oftentimes that's not the best foot forward, right? For the 82% of customers that are on mobile, that doesn't always translate to that making up 82% of like the revenue pie, right? Oftentimes we have endless form fields, right? You're putting in your email, your address for the 900th time. It's never a fun experience. And oftentimes they're not terribly UI UX friendly, leading to, oftentimes a frequent cart abandonment, right? So lower conversion rates than you're looking for. So what we've seen for apps like Princess Polly that I'll talk about is that having an owned marketing channel inside of the app leads them to improve on all of these measures, right? It's not a passive channel. It's very much an owned channel that you're able to control consumer behavior. You have 2 to 3 times X higher conversion than mobile web alone. And ultimately, this is where your most valuable customers want to shop. And we know that because 82% of customers are using mobile already. So let me send a case study here if you're curious. One of the things that I like about this case study that Shopify posted about Princess Polly, so they mentioned that 98% of customers that download the app actually stay inside of the app, right? So it's a very sticky retention channel that can really help you to navigate some of these changes that we're seeing on the email front by being able to diversify your owned marketing, including email, SMS, and mobile push, right? There's not a one size fits all. I think most e-commerce brands know this at this point, but this is a great opportunity to do some soul searching and see, okay, how can I make up that delta for email revenue that I've historically seen and be able to try channels like SMS and try channels like mobile push through TapCart as well. And my next slide here. So this is very much something that I have highlighted before. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Ultimately, there are certain costs that are today a little bit more affordable than others. This is always changing, right? I think the biggest TLDR here is that look at where it is that you're spending your owned marketing dollars and see if there's a way to potentially optimize that by subsidizing some of that with push notifications that do happen to be free at the moment as well. And you can pop to the last slide there. Beautiful. So the TLDR, if you take away one thing, It's that, again, unsurprisingly, there are changes that require us as brand leaders to make some pretty important changes. I think the real solution here is no over reliance on one single owned marketing channel that exposes us to risk, as we're seeing with some of these new changes. So diversification is key. Tapcart can be an incredible solution here. We work with plenty of leading brands, many of which are on solutions with the partners that are on the call today. We'd be more than happy to offer 2 months free to any of our merchants that are listening, or any of our potential merchants that are listening today. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, or my email is jon@tapcart.co, and I'd be more than happy to connect with you. And I will pass it over to Fiona.
Fantastic, thank you. That is quite scary, those stats, actually. But it's also quite good that marketers are being held to account a little bit. It's sort of the next evolution of, SEO went from white hat and hiding links and everything to actually how do we make search good for consumers. And it's interesting to think about how you make email good for consumers, but also it's going to be quite hard. So what do you have in your arsenal to help with that?
Change is tough, but that's why we have the folks on the call today that can help us navigate that. So it's an opportunity.
Thank you so much, John. And last but not least, Adnan.
Perfect. I am loving these tips. That 80% number just still has my head spinning. So yeah, really couldn't agree more with like the push for mobile. That was awesome, John. And then the post-purchase surveys, like love that. Love hearing that too from Aaron. So yeah, thanks for having me and having us here. I'll fly through these. I know we want to leave some time for questions. Before I start, I realized I didn't really quickly introduce Rebuy as well. So just really quickly, the umbrella way, or the way that I explain it to my mom, is we get you to spend more money online when you're shopping. It's probably the best way that I can explain it, through intelligent merchandising and intelligent product recommendations. Okay, so for the next slide, please. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, so this webinar is very timely. I'll start with a quick story. So there was a big retail conference and show in New York a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure many of you heard about it. And so I was talking to a partner who was at this show, and we work with her, and she was going around and she said that she kept seeing AI and personalization just everywhere, plastered on like every booth, on every billboard. And it really did feel like that buzzword, and like she just kept seeing it everywhere. So she went up to a vendor and was like, how do you guys actually incorporate personalization? What does that mean for you? And they were an inventory management software. And after asking some questions, it was just like back-end processing optimization. There wasn't really anything personalization about it, especially for the consumer. So all of that is to say that personalization, in quotes, doesn't actually always equal a personalized experience for your customers. So if we unpack that a little bit, I want to say, don't be fooled by kind of the buzzwordiness or the surface level AI. Are you actually creating a personalized experience? So if we unpack that, and I think a couple of us have mentioned this, there's like personalized content and messaging. So that's on site, your email, your SMS, even through mobile. Then there's your personalized product recommendations. So that's where Rebuy plays as well. And then there's gonna be things like personalized search. So everybody wants to deploy personalization in a lot of different ways, which is great. But what I want to talk about is the depth of that personalization. So if we hone in on, for example, personalized product recommendations, and if we kind of dig into that a little bit deeper in the depth of it, there is a difference between a plug and play solution. So something like Shopify's out of the box product recommendation API, or something like Rebuy's rules, where it's data informed. There's a lot more variables that we're taking into account when we're actually recommending those products. So if we dig into that a little bit deeper, even more, Shopify's out of the box product rec APIs allow you to look at related products or complementary products. And it's only going to surface recommendations based off of one product in the cart, just the limitation of it. So if Shopify's product rec APIs are powering your product rec solution, or if they're powering the software that's powering that solution for you, you're not really having an actual personalized product rec solution for your customers. With something like Rebuy, we can say, okay, is this person buying from the West Coast, let's say California? Are they spending over $250 with you? Are they a repeat customer? Are they buying this specific type of product from this collection? If so, let's surface these products to recommend to them at the cart stage. And let's do something completely different for post-purchase. So it's actually a pretty simple example, but that's what I mean by like the depth of personalization. Are you offering actually unique offers to the right person at the right point in their journey? Next slide. I did say I'll leave you with a quick tip as well. So this one is very timely too. As many of us have heard, especially if you're on Shopify Plus, this year Shopify is going to be deprecating their current way of doing checkout. So they're moving from checkout.liquid to something that they're calling checkout extensions, which is essentially like appifying their checkout page. We are ready for this. We have a checkout extensions tool that allows you to do product recommendations, cross-sells, upsells on the checkout page. So you can do, simple cross-sells or upsells. It doesn't even always have to be a product. We have folks that are upselling free or expedited shipping, shipping insurance. There's even folks that are taking like dead or overstock inventory, packaging it up as a mystery gift, discounting it and selling that as your product rec on checkout. So tons of different ways that you can go about it. We are offering this for free. So my email is in the bottom right, or if you come through any of our demo channels, just drop my name or even just drop this webinar, and we can help you get that set up for free. And again, we're not going to be taking any billable revenue from what we're helping you sell on checkout either. We just want to make sure you're actually taking advantage of Shopify Plus. So yeah, hopefully that offers a lot of value, and my email is in the bottom right. Okay, hopefully that was quick enough, Fiona. I will pass it back to you.
That was more than quick enough. Thank you so much. I think you're right. Personalization, we've been talking about it for a long time, but perhaps not. Has it really been personal? It's getting there now, I think. Really interesting. Fantastic. So that is all our experts, it's all our trends, and it's a lot to think about. So thank you all so much for those incredible insights into the year ahead. I'm sure everybody's itching to go away and think about how those trends impact you in your store. But before you do, let's see what's happening over on the Slido. Now, fingers crossed, we're going to have some questions to answer. And we do. That's exciting. Fantastic. It's not too late to submit your questions. And if we don't get to them live on the session today, then we will do our best to get the answers over to you afterwards. Remember, you can upvote questions that you're interested in as well. So there's a movable feast at all times. Okay, let's see. Where are we going first? Top of the pile with 4 upvotes, Triple Whale. How well do customers tolerate post-purchase surveys? We have poor engagement and it's increased our unsubscribes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting how that was worded. So like, how well do customers tolerate post-purchase surveys? And a reason why I want to emphasize that is that I believe like, if you go to any store, any restaurant, any movie, like there's just a ton of reviews. Like people want to give their opinions. People want to speak their minds and tell you how they feel about something. So I do think that people do, quote unquote, tolerate post-purchase surveys if they feel that the questions that are being asked to them are relevant. So my question is, are your post-purchase surveys asking for feedback that is based on what they're currently experiencing? So, are you segmenting your customers and asking them something that's more personal based on that customer journey or the purchase that they made through that experience with your brand? So that's one thing I definitely want to look at, is how personalized are that, and are you segmenting the customers based on that experience? I think the other thing too is timing. So when are you asking for that customer feedback? I know for myself, I might be feeling really passionate about something in the moment and like need to express it. And if I walk away and my mind goes somewhere else, I completely forgot about that. And I probably now have no energy to tell you how I really feel. So customers are probably more likely to also give that honest feedback in the moment of that experience. So you could be also find that you're getting those unsubscribes or those lacks of responses, just failing to capture that immediate feedback from the customers based on when you're actually sending those out.
Amazing. That's a really useful answer. Thank you, Erin. I like Slido. This is fun. One for LoyaltyLion. Is it possible to create rewards that are time limited, i.e. offering a birthday reward that has to be used in 30 days after receiving it? Yes, this is absolutely possible. In fact, we recommend it. So points expiry is something that we recommend using wherever possible. That urgency obviously brings people back to get that next purchase a little bit sooner. And there's also all these ways, as we discussed, of earning more points in between transactions. And the more you can encourage that, plus add your points expiry, the sooner you get that person back for their next purchase. Thank you for that question. Attentive, Jen, over to you. This is a broad one, but if you could give one piece of advice, how can I start using AI in marketing?
Yeah, but a fair question. I think sometimes hearing like the trends, that can seem kind of like intimidating, right? You're like, I feel the way off from, predictive analytics and one-to-one personalization. So I think 2 things that come top of mind. First is like probably honestly just like start with the basics. So where we see most adoption with attentive AI is actually on things like copy assistant. So the example I gave of like being able to do, you know, the A/B testing, but you can literally just use it to generate your copy. It doesn't have to be for like a testing purpose, and also with imagery creation. So basically typing in like, hey, I need this creative or image for this campaign I'm creating, and you can type a description of like red shoes, you know, floral background, and images will be created for you that you can quickly select. So I probably recommend starting there. And the other one that we see some good adoption into is really around like customer service or customer support. So we have Attentive Concierge, which is like our customer conversational messaging platform. So where customers can directly message a brand with, you know, questions, could be about returns, could be about a product in stock. And we have like live agents that will answer those questions, but we've also introduced concierge powered by AI. And so we're seeing more brands adopting that, usually in conjunction with the live agents, and sort of testing out AI for customer service. But we saw some great uptick over Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I think it was about 45% of concierge conversations were actually powered by AI over like that time period. And they actually had like a higher conversion rate as well of like resolving the issue and leading through to like a potential purpose. So we're seeing some really promising things on the AI front there. So I would definitely encourage, if that's an option for you, to also start exploring that along with some of those like copy and image basics.
It's a very sensible place to start with that. Brilliant, thank you. Erin, we are back to you. How can I rebalance my platform mix with the data I've collected in 2023?
So this could be a very long question. I mean, very long answer, but I will try to give a really quick snapshot of what could be the best way of doing this. So I think that you first need to have an understanding of your 2023 data so that you really kind of have a better understanding as to what to do in 2024. So really take this time during this quarter to really review what channels were your highest performance in 2023 in order to understand where the majority of your customers are coming from. One of our pro tips at Triple Whale recommends putting some of your experimental marketing budget even towards something like TikTok this year, just due to some major success that we've seen with brands on the platform in 2023. And also, like, with that being said, once you've started to identify your highest performing channels, it's now kind of time to start building that strategy for success. So depending on your brand's goals, strategies for 2023, I know our experts here at Triple Whale really kind of foresee a shift towards prioritizing profitability over revenue, just due to the rising cost. So brands should really be reassessing their platform mix, emphasizing profitable new customer acquisition. And it's essential to really just closely monitor the balance between returning and new customers on paid channels. And just with that being said, since Triple Whale does offer our Pixel product, where you can also find that total impact feature that I was mentioning earlier, so that's your zero-party data with your first-party data, the Pixel product will also be able to tell you where your customers are coming from, what channels are your top performers, and where you should be allocating your marketing dollars in the new year. So we actually have a product that will actually be able to tell you all of that.
Fantastic, thank you. This next one is not aimed at any individual, so I'm going to go with fastest finger first. Whoever speaks first can grab this one. Is it worth optimizing our cross-selling and upselling efforts in the customer journey? Who wants it?
I can take that one. Or we
Oh,
can.
go for it. I can follow you up.
I'm sure we can both answer. Yeah, there's like so much to dig in here. So okay, so I'll be quick.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean the obvious answer is definitely. The reason I feel like I can speak to this is one of our most popular conversation topics this year with our account managers has been what we call data source optimization calls. And essentially what we're doing is, okay, it's great that you're recommending some products in the cart, or you've turned on recommendations, you know, full funnel for the completely site-wide from homepage all the way to post-purchase. You might be recommending the same product like 3 times. There might not be any personalized element to that actual recommendation, what you're surfacing and when. So an easy example is as you're shopping through the grocery cart aisle, you're still shopping for more, you know, things that you're taking home for more groceries. When you get to the actual checkout and you're about to pay at the register, that's when you get like gum and smaller accessory type of things. So there is some type of optimization or logic that you want to use when you're thinking about cross-selling and upselling. So yeah, all that to say is that's definitely been a hot topic with our account managers and customers, figuring out how do we like really dial those different rules and figure out what to serve to who. So yes, all in all, for sure, it's worth optimizing cross-selling and upselling. SJ, I know you had some thoughts too.
Yeah, right there with you. I think there's also the idea that like your customers or your visitors could be bundling things and doing their own type of cross-sell, upsell based off of behavior that you may not know about. And that could be how they're being influenced, creators that they follow on social. So that could help you optimize what exactly you bundle together in that cross-sell, upsell opportunity, and then connecting it to the copy that you're using and why someone may want to use that. So optimizing, yes, of course, what you're serving up, but then also how you're presenting it with where they're coming from. So all about that channel source that you can get into with the conditions you set for how you're actually triggering any cross-sell or upsell efforts throughout the experience.
Amazing. Thank you very much, both. Okay, next up, also on AI, and actually I feel this one. What about marketers who are concerned about AI replacing humans or diminishing the role of creativity? Again,
Well,
anybody who wants to take that one.
I can jump in. I have like one thing, then if anyone else, I'm curious if there's other perspectives. I think like one of the nice ways I've heard of AI being described is like this like super smart partner or collaborator, kind of like, works with you. So it's not that like AI is designed to do all the work, but more so that it can actually save you time, like it can give you a starting point to work with. But then you can kind of step in and add more of that creative flair to that base. And I think like two things to consider. First of all, like brands don't want to lose that sort of authentic human voice. I don't think they want it to be like our messaging sounds like it was built like AI. We still want it to feel human and sound human. And so that is going to remain a very critical part of it. I think that's like the essence of what we as marketers can bring. But also we actually, I could share it in the chat when I'm finished chatting here, but we did an interview with one of our attentive AI customers like towards the end of last year, hot topic, and they gave some really great insights into that too. They talked about how they very much see AI as this like boost for them, and it actually just gives them more bandwidth. But then what they do is they go and focus on this like higher level work that actually is like more about creativity, and it actually just gives them time and more time to be more creative and give it that thought. So I think it's a really nice balance, and I hope it can actually open up more possibilities for human creativity and time to invest in that, with AI doing some more of the basics today as well.
Yeah, I think I speak to that as well, that I don't think it's going to necessarily take away jobs, but I think it's going to finally allow us to not wear a million hats, and we can actually concentrate on essentially the job that we were hired to do and become the expert in that role. And I don't know about you guys, but like ChatGPT has become my best friend. I literally, and it's not even, just not doing my job, but it sometimes even helps me to get inspired, or like shows me a different perspective, or just another way of doing something that's more efficient. And it's actually made, if anything, my, tasks that much more easier, so that I'm able to put my best foot forward for the company. So yeah, I definitely agree with everything that Jen's saying.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Right on to that too.
Yeah.
GPT rolled my whole presentation today. I get it, Aaron. I'm kind of like a doom and gloom person. And so like I see things like ChatGPT. I even see like there's this one thing called Midjourney, and it's like AI for art. And so you give it prompts and it creates these beautiful pieces of art just given the prompts that you give it. So I do see a world that AI starts taking more and more of our jobs, but I see that world so far away. Like we've had email marketing forever, and we're still optimizing and figuring out a better way to do it. Like I wouldn't worry about AI replacing like a lot of our marketing ecom jobs until we start doing the basics more right, more consistently. There are so many people that I meet that like we want to talk about all like these great new innovative things that we want to do, and that's great, and we should have that, as a goal, but there are just so many basic elements that I see brands haven't incorporated yet that like I get that this is a question and I get that it's important, but it's not going to hit a lot of us for a little bit.
I think you're right. And I think anything that can give us a bit more space to be creative, that's why we're going for marketing, most of us, because we enjoy the time to think and be creative and come up with ideas. Anything that can help us do that is a plus. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. We'll fly through these last two. Do you offer the same rewards to every member? I'm guessing that one's for LoyaltyLion. No, definitely not. So you have your most valuable customers, your VIPs, then you have your sort of mid-tier, then you have people who are shopping with you for the first time, and you probably offered them a discount to get them through the door. You can be offering all of those people a different experience. And somebody mentioned in a presentation earlier, segmenting people by AOV. The more someone is loyal to you, the more they shop with you, the higher their average order value will be, the higher their lifetime value will be. Segment according to that. Give the people at the top of that tier the rewards, experiences, early access to sales, all those great things. That's the way to segment. And our very last question, and we have 1 minute, Steph. How can I retarget website visitors?
Yeah, I saw this, so I'll throw some links in here. But how can you retarget? You can do it based off of dynamic messaging. That's a way to retarget. So I just threw that link in the chat. And that's all about creating something that is custom to the visitor in that moment. And then there's where you're retargeting visitors based off of their behavior. So I just threw another blog in there about exit, browse abandonment, cart abandonment, bounce rate. So that's where you're retargeting someone, kind of like Fiona was saying, based off of this as visitors, but we could get more segmented into customers. So based off of how they are just actually engaging with the website. And you're kind of thinking more enabling that personal shopper mode is how you want to retarget website visitors. And then it's all about, like Adnan was saying, creating that personalized experience. I'll throw a blog here, which has a lot more like kind of in depth, like Adnan was saying, where you can get personalized, but it's more on the execution of that. So retargeting based off of that whole personalization experience that you want to enable. And then I did have, oh yeah, okay, perfect. So then with retargeting these visitors, you're also able to, more on the lead capture side, once you capture that lead, you can send those leads to your ad platforms to retarget offsite. So this is really great because you're actually uploading a list that has already shown you a lot of intent. You know exactly where they're opting in from if you have that quality lead capture, and then you're able to serve them ads on those other ad platforms. So it is an instant sync. It is something where you're able to tap into that segment twice, but using the assets and creative that are on those two different channels. So a lot of ways that we can retarget visitors. It kind of just depends on your overall goal or metric that you're tracking and wanting to improve. And you can do it based off of these different ways with the actual real-time targeting, what you're showing them, and then just an overall personalized experience, which doesn't have to have a million touch points. It can have like the one perfect touch point that makes them know that you are seeing them as an individual visitor.
Fantastic. Nicely done. Okay. I'm afraid we're at the top of the hour. That really is all that we have time for. What a great session. I don't know about you. I feel full of energy, full of ideas. Not a January blue in sight. Before we let them go, let's just say one big thank you to our speakers. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for giving up your time to be part of our 2024 Trends event. Don't forget, we'll be sending around the recording so you can revisit that in your own time. If you have any more questions, you can reach me or any of our other speakers on LinkedIn at any time. We would love to hear from you. All that remains is for me to say good luck. We wish you all the best for 2024. Goodbye, everybody.